Yeah.
I wish I had a separate.
Hello, welcome to Ladies Corner with Tea. Tonight, I've got an amazing guest. I'm so excited to introduce you to her. For those of you, actually, she doesn't need an introduction. She's part and parcel of Edmonton. She's been here a long time. She works with a strong team and a diverse group of creatives. She has helped build an ecosystem of events and media that reflect the experiences of Black Canadians. Okay, hold on a second. Don't go away. She is a natural hair care by trade, and she has her own brand of small batch plant-based hair and skincare products called Afrodisiac Naturals. So that's right. She's the CEO of Afrodisiac Naturals, and she owns, wait for it, the only exclusive natural hair shop in the city. That is the Afrodisiac Natural Shop. She works as a marketing manager for Melanistic magazine. That's right, the only black magazine in the city. She's also the co-host and producer of the Multiverse Theory podcast. On February 15th, she released her second book, Harriet's Humongous Hair. Um, she has written two children's books. There's no end to her talent. She's also the band leader at Afrodisiac Mass Band, and she plays percussion. She's got rhythm. She's my friend and my sister. She's Nilo.
Hi.
Hold on. Wait for it, sister. Sister
There
girl.
it is.
Hi. Did I
Hi. Thanks for
do
having me.
justice? Did I do justice to describing you there?
It was a lot of things. It took me
I-
a long time to write that bio.
It's exhausting, sister girl. Is you work
It's a
so
lot.
hard.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it really like I think of myself as a holistic entrepreneur. So
Mm.
I think I really am thinking about how I'm living and how that is contributing to like my mental health, how that like so doing things that I enjoy help at least with the work life balance. But I'm definitely in a place where 2021 for me is embracing radical self care and understanding self care as like the most resistant thing we could possibly do as Black women, and really indulging in that. So that is what I'm going to be doing this year, more self-care.
I love your energy. I love the vibes I'm getting. Now, for those who do not know you, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? What I just described that, but just let's hear it
Yeah,
from
no, totally. So I was born in Guyana in South America. I moved here. My father moved me up when I was 6 years old, and lived in Beaumont, Alberta, as the only Black person till I graduated at 17 years old, where I moved to New York. So in my time, really in New York, I was there for about 15 years, and then just about 10 years ago from today, I retired and left corporate America. I started my locks and I went to mentor with my sister, who taught me all about plant based. All about natural hair and skincare, and really just about like embracing who you are and being able to like live and work authentically in that space. So because of family tragedy, I moved back to Edmonton about 5 years ago and just decided to root in and be who I needed to be when I was a child. And I just started producing events and things just around being Black, and some of it away from the white gaze, and some of it just as a celebration that anybody could really like attend and be at. So it's been about 5 years now that I've been back, and so far so good. Like things are going pretty well.
I love to ask, what is so beautiful about the city? You're doing so well in it. Your message is resonating. You have your followership, and people love what you do. So, is it you? Is it Edmonton?
Edmonton is so talented. And the thing about Edmonton is there's a lot of people who have come from a lot of places, and there are a lot of doers here. There are a lot of people like LadiesCorner and LadiesCorner magazine and this podcast and all of the people doing podcasts in the city who are advocating and who are out there really just paving a way and filling in those spaces where we don't have things. So being in an environment where there's other small business owners and young people, artists, creators who come together to make these things happen, it helps me in that process as well.
Mm.
So
Now,
yeah, Edmonton is really fantastic for that, for talent
I
specifically.
I agree. Now, the black hair culture is a philosophy, is a movement, is a way of life. See, your hair is that dreads?
Yeah, my hair's locked.
It's locked. Good. What do you say to sisters who don't get it? Sisters who maybe sell out to perms, to weaves.
Yeah. So my work when it comes to natural hair really is based in terms of making sure that we don't have to conform with um, harmful methods to standards that we likely won't reach anyway. So
Mm,
that is my work. In terms of people having preferences, Black women specifically, and how they do their hair, I really make a stand to not judge from that portion of things because I feel like Black women have A, gone through enough, and B, have been like judged and told what to do with their hair for like generations, right? Like
mm,
sumptuary laws in the United States, we weren't allowed to have our hair out. So all kinds of, even today, you can look in the news and find different places where children cannot wear dreadlocks to school, or a little girl has braids and she gets suspended. So those things for me, like that sort of larger societal issue is where I kind of reside. But in terms of like the person to person, I really want to make a space where someone can feel comfortable enough to wear their hair however they want to. So the person who chooses a perm, no big deal. But choosing a perm because you can't work, you can't get a job, it's
mm.
societally or socially unacceptable because you are wearing an afro, like that is the part that we want to like break down and sort of really
Yeah.
move out of that space.
Okay, so why natural hair?
So for me, my goal and my job is to make your hair, anyone who comes to his hair, as healthy as possible. That is really what my goal is. Natural hair or black hair specifically, um, because I'm black. Like, really, that's the bottom line. I'm black. My daughter's black. My sisters are black. Right. So, um, focusing on that hair care and really focusing on accepting that hair and being able to like cultivate a culture where people can be proud and talk about hair and talk to each other about certain struggles that we might have, which are a lot of them are universal, right? And it just takes a conversation. Um, like that part is really important. I think that there is a historical significance to black hair that
Mm,
has been broken in time because of specifically the transatlantic slave trade, but everything that happened before that as well, right?
mm,
So because of that, there has been an exact like breakage in terms of how we pass things on, in terms of and how that is attached to our hair. And a lot of that was systematically broken down because hairstyles really depicted something culturally for us when we came to these shores, but also colonially in Africa. A lot of times when we talk about quote unquote slavery, we forget that colonial Africa has a lot of these rules as well.
right.
So it's like no stranger that a friend of mine who's Nigerian, when he goes home, he refuses to, like, he has to sleep with his door locked because his mom might come in and cut his locks off. Right? So we know this as a culture. We know this, right?
A
So the
typical
goal,
Nigerian mother. Mhm.
well, so the goal is to get to a place truly with black hair where we are accepting ourselves and really getting to the root of the symptoms that we're seeing. Sometimes people will say, I actually had a laugh about this today. Sorry, I have to sneeze. Sorry.
Bless you.
Um, yeah, I
Bless
had a
you.
laugh today that someone has come to me before and been like, I have dry hair like my mother. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's dry hair is not a genetic trait. Like it's just not, right? So a
Yeah.
lot of times the things that are going on with our hair that is health related, we are really internalizing them. And that's causing self-esteem breakdowns in places that we don't even think about. For example, a lot of the hair that people wear, the synthetic hair, we can be allergic to, right?
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of like studies about the carcinogenic nature of it, but like um more specifically, certain people break out. They just get pimples and they will have pimples on their chest, on their back, face, forehead. That's really just their skin being like, whoa, 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 with what's touching it. But instead of looking at those things, we instead internalize it and start thinking that there's something wrong with us rather
Mm.
than thinking about the symptoms of it. So in terms of how that largely affects like self-esteem, that is the part that is important to me, to like really get to the root of the symptoms that we're seeing and not be internalizing them as though
Yeah.
there's something innately wrong with us, right?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
clients who say, "Oh, I only wear my wig when I go to church." I said, oh, "Does God not know what you look like? Are you trying to fool him? Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So yeah, those types of things, like, it's important that we work through them, and black hair is so important, right?
Yeah, it's kind of I agree. It's a political statement. Our
Yeah.
hair is political, but a lot. Some of us did not grow up. Your sister mentored you. You said some of us
Mhm.
did not even have mothers who showed us how to look after our kinky hair. Like when I was growing up, the best thing my mom did was to take us to the barber shop, and she would,
Mhm.
mow, our hair down. And so as soon as I didn't have to cut my hair anymore, I didn't. And I went to a school that you could only have it cornrowed. And I hated cornrow because they made me do that. So as soon as I left secondary school, I promised myself it would never happen to me again. So we've all had different introductions to our kinky hair, and my question is, kinky hair itself it has a temperament. You've got to be in a certain state of mind to look after your own hair. You've got to baby it, to nurture it. uh,
Nurture, absolutely.
And there's some terminologies: condition it, moisturize it,
Right,
not texturize, but moisture. My daughter
right.
is a natural hair addict, so I know all these terms. So my question is, a lot of the skills, even grown-ups like me, we do not have,
Mm,
because our introduction to our hair was filled with trauma in
right.
one way or the other. So how would we go about addressing or teaching people how to look after their own kinky hair and to be proud of their afro, to be proud of the kinky?
Yeah. I think one of the things that I tell people who come for consultations with me is you have to change your mind before you can change your hair. So a lot of that
Mhm.
trauma that's already induced from our own families can actually be elevated even more because there's this like um, public, how do you say, media, like not even just social media. There's definitely social media, but there's also the stuff walking through the grocery store and seeing a wall of magazines. Like, I didn't click on that, I just came for oranges, right? But those things still affect us and we internalize that, and in that way. So I think the first thing that I would say is social media is a great tool because you get to choose who you follow. So sort of choose natural hair people who resonate with you, but also whose hair might be similar to yours. A lot of times, natural hair people on the internet are anecdotally giving you information. This is what worked for me. Then I did this, and then I did this, and this didn't work so much, right? So that's really what we're used to consuming. So finding somebody whose texture might be similar to yours, who has an outcome already that you're looking for, even somebody who might be going through the process, all of that stuff helps. And even changing your social media so that what you're scrolling, what you're actually seeing is different. That actually helps to change. Sorry, I was reading the question.
Yeah, there's a question. Yeah.
So I think that's number one thing. And then there's a great book called The Science of Black Hair. It was written in around 2011, 2012 time when I was kind of just starting. And I don't necessarily agree with everything, but a lot of the things in there I definitely agree with. So that is like sort of the science textbook level of things. But I would also say practicing and touching your hair a lot and taking the time for it. The thing is that we don't care for ourselves as much as we should be caring for ourselves. And that is reflective really in our challenges with hair. Like it really comes down to, just like I said, indulging in radical self-care on a consistent basis.
Yeah, because there's nothing fast about kinky hair.
No.
It's a slow process.
Everything about it.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a question. I have a question. If you can, your hair will grow.
Probably cut, maybe.
If you cut it, it will grow faster. Is it true? If you cut your hair, it will grow faster.
Sorry.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. I was just cleaning, so there's like dust up in the air. I'm in my laboratory. So the thing about cutting your hair and it growing faster is that growth itself comes from the inside, period. What we see as growth is growth retention. So when you cut your hair, it will help for you, and it depends on how much you cut and how regularly you cut. It will help to retain the length by not having it break and split ends. So you're cutting it off the weekend so that it will grow. So what will happen is not growing faster. You might see a bit more growth if you have damage that you're getting rid of. Because sometimes your hair is growing and breaking at the same rate. And people are like, oh, my hair's not growing. And I'm like, no, if you're alive, your hair is growing. If you're alive, it's growing. It even grows sometimes when you're dead. So it's definitely growing. But sometimes the rate of attrition is meeting the growth rate. So I think that's when trimming, you tend to like see the growth a little bit more or see the retention a little bit more because you've gotten rid of the whatever damage would have shedded off your length.
So talk to us. Yeah, that helps. That helps. Talk to us about some of your products. What you make these products yourself from plant-based sources. That's incredible.
Yeah, so I do everything from formulation all the way to manufacturing, and it is really cool. I think that I don't really. It's like it feels ingrained in me. While I did mentor with my sister, she learned from our grandmother. So it definitely at this time, because it's been 10 years, someone can come to me and has actually just recently, a friend of mine is going through some chemotherapy. And because of that, she has nerve pain. So a mutual friend of ours was like, can you make something that can make it not hurt as much or take away some of that pain make it a little bit more bearable for her at least. And then it was able to formulate something to be able to do that, which requires a lot of reading, a lot of, believe it
Mm,
or not, medical journals, also
mm,
work with plant oils and essential oils and those things. They may not publish it like in their journal books, but it's usually in Google Scholar. I like have a Google alert
mm,
for scholarly articles about essential oils, basically.
mm,
So I was able to like formulate and go from there. My favorite product that I think I have is Golden Cream. It was my very first item. It's a hair and skincare product, and it's pretty much what I use to twist, what I use as my grease. Right? It's really for everything. Like you can when I get out of the shower, that's what I use on my skin, and also what I use for people's hair. I carry it in my bag in case I get dry randomly with all this hand washing and alcohol
mm,
sanitizing. It happens. So Golden Cream is like my number one. It makes your hair grow really faster, fuller. It's shiny. It smells like it's a really basic smell. It's not like, hey, yeah. It's like kind of more of an earthy, it's like baby powder, but a bit more earthy. So the other one that I really love is the spray leave-in conditioner. Here in Alberta, it is so dry outside, and we're high in terms of elevation. So all of those things we know, moisture goes from high areas of high moisture to areas of low moisture. So when we're in a place when the air is so dry, things that we might be doing, thinking, if we were in New York or Miami, our hair or Legos, our hair would be pulling moisture from the air. Unfortunately, we're not in those places, so it actually draws moisture out the other way.
yeah.
And the leave-in conditioner is like a daily fix for that. So it's definitely like something that I use every day, but something that my clients use every day and on a regular basis. One of the things I really like about the entire product line is that you can mix the butters and the oils. I have an oil called Golden Free, which is my golden cream base with no essential oils in it, that you can literally mix with any of the other oils I have. So even though I'm plant based, I'm focusing on natural hair. We also have Scalp Rescue, which is really formulated for ladies who have troublesome scalps, whether it's to do with the weather or whether it's to do with like wearing braids, weaves, wigs for a long time. Rescue helps to like calm and tame some of those things. So
Mm,
any of the oils that I have, oh, and my most favorite oil is Grow. Grow oil is everything that I possibly have in this laboratory behind me that could make your hair grow is in that little bottle. So I 100% stand by it. The worst thing I've ever done is not take before and after pictures because I like to give people their privacy. But I brought crowns back and made locks out of where there was no hair before. I brought hairlines back and made hairlines and locks where there was no hair before. And also even natural hair. There's a lot of natural hair people who might have thinning or maybe damage that's left over. And Grow helps with that as well. Pretty much making hair where there was hair, but there isn't anymore.
My
Sorry, that was
sister,
a
I'm so
mouthful, huh?
no, no, well done. I'm so very proud of you because your process is scientific. And what we'll do is I will come and check out your shop and just hang out with you guys to get some of the energy. Oh, bless you. You're coming
I'm
down
so
the hall.
sorry.
Just telepathical.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's happening. Give me one moment.
Okay. Okay, so that's Nilo. She's a CEO
Yeah.
and
I
she's
will
back.
show you this really quick.
O-
No, I don't know how to flip it around.
Okay, so that was Nilo. She's the marketing manager for Melanistic magazine. She is the podcast co-host and producer of the Black Multiverse Theory. And this is the Ladies Corner show with T. Oh, sorry, sweetheart, you had to blow your
That's all.
nose.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Thank
We're
you so
gonna
much for having me.
I'm really sorry for taking too much of your time. We're gonna let you
No,
go with this
no, no,
last
no. This was fun. This was great conversation.
question. Oh, I now, do you think every month should be Black History Month?
Yeah, I definitely think that there needs to be a place in the curriculum for Black history that acknowledges the immigrant population, the Black settler Canadian population, and then also the African population, and what immigrants and people who are from here have contributed to the history of Alberta and Canada as a whole. I think right now, as Canada, we have a fragmented history of Canadian, a fragmented view of Canadian history. Basically, because it leaves out all the racialized people. So I think that that needs to be in a regular school curriculum type setting from the beginning instead of John Ware every year.
Hmm.
So
So how did I agree? I agree. How did your launch go on Monday? You published Harriet's Humongous Hair and Harriet's Tremendous Day. How did
yeah.
that go? So sorry I missed it. Congratulations, by the way.
Ooh, yeah, it was fun. We read to the children. The most amazing thing that a child can say when you read to them is, "Can you read me another one?"
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Which was a request. We had a follow up request, and I read Harriet, Harriet's Humongous Hair. Also, the kids were really good in terms of like asking questions, and we had a really good question answer session. So it was nice. All the moms that were on was like, "That was so much fun." And so I have to assume that the babies felt the same way too. But we had almost 70 kids on there.
Wow. Well
Yeah,
done. Well done. It's
it was
yeah.
fun.
Well, so where can we get the books from?
So if you go to harrietshumongous.com, you could definitely order them. And they are at Afrodisiac
Okay.
Naturals.com. They're there as well. You know, I'm kind of fighting capitalism and the man a little bit. So I don't think that they will be on Amazon. Like I'm, in that teetering place. Like
Because they're gonna cut some of your money anyway,
of
and it
course
costs
they
you a
do.
whole lot.
Yeah, they definitely do that. But I'd also like to get Black booksellers an opportunity to be carrying them wherever they are and make this more of a grassroots project than a overhead thing where I'm trying to, give Amazon 90% of my money, but everybody knows who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really unique and brave. There's one final question here. She's left us several. Are you meant to leave in conditioner on wet hair? Are you meant to use leave-in conditioner on wet hair?
Well, so I do have to preface my answer with saying that I do have my own natural hair products company. So I don't necessarily co-sign a lot of the conditioners that are on the market unless you have somebody who is also plant-based and handmade and providing you with leave-in conditioner. It can totally be on wet hair. It should be on wet hair.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. To be honest, Nyla, to be honest, I'll be interested in partnering or learning more about kinky hair. So whenever you decide to do how-to classes, or maybe I'll just come down the shop and then.
Well, there's been people banging down my door for how-to classes. We
Mhm.
bought 50 chairs
Oh,
in the
okay.
spring.
All right.
So, and we're looking,
Pandemic.
yeah, the
The
pandemic.
pandemic happened.
That is it. So I didn't adapt for Zoom right away. It's challenging if you can't touch and feel and see.
Yeah.
So we will see.
I mean, I've got a lot of value tonight from talking to you. I don't want to let you go, but I have to. I have to. We're going to be networking and connecting on many different levels after this conversation. I'm sure you're Nilo.
Surely.
You're an amazing Black woman, and you do us so proud. How do
Oh,
you not
thank
get
you.
exhausted? It's
Oh,
just
I'm constantly exhausted. I'm tired right now. What has that changed?
that you keep going. That's the moral of the
What
story.
are you gonna do? What's the other option, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
Okay,
one put in front of the other.
I'm gonna end the broadcast. Don't you go away. Right, listeners, thank you so much. See you next time
Thank
down
you
the
for
Nilo.
having me. Take care.
You're welcome.